I'm 62 years old and my finances are messed up. Talk about fear. I was $40,000 in debt at age 45, had no savings and nothing for retirement. But I changed all of that, and in this video, I'll show you how I went from zero to a house with a pool on a lake and enough in a 401k to keep it all up until I lived to be 100. Are you ready to see how I did all of this? Hey. Thanks for coming by and welcome to my adventures. This is fear number 2 in my No Fear series about what scares us older people. Finances is that number 2. And this is one of those things that scares me and a lot of us and worries us on a daily basis. Now, don't hit the panic button yet. It's never too late to start working on securing my retirement. I have personally gone from $40,000 in debt to having $40,000 in savings at least twice in my life. Can you believe that? And YouTube has entire channels devoted to finances. And well, I'm just going to hit on the highlights about nailing this fear. This topic is so immense, I had to even split this into 2 videos. So today, in part 1, I'm going to dive into how I equalized my income dollars. Now, what does that mean? Well, there's no way to plan a financial anything without income, right? In part 2, I'll talk about handling expenses and investments. Now remember that I'm not a licensed professional or accountant, but I do have 8 years experience as a budget analyst for UCLA, and I've worked additional years on financials in positions at NBC, Universal, USC, and Nordic Track. And the information that I'm going to be sharing is my own personal experience. Be sure that you consult with a professional because your situation is most certainly different than mine. And I truly want only a successful outcome for you, my friend. Now, I will share some of the resources that I follow that you could use too. So how did I equalize my income? I believe that step 1 with any financial plan is that I must assess the situation first and know where I stand. I need to have an honest picture of my savings, debts, assets, income, expenses. And how do I do this? Well, I had some help. I'm the kind of person that likes to stay positive all the time. So many times that means I turn a blind eye to a situation that might be really bleak. So one of the tools that helped me immensely this last time around was a program and workbook from Dave Ramsey. Oh, that's this thing right here. And I'm probably going to refer to this guy a few times in this video because his plan works. His organization claims to have helped over 10 million people out of debt. And as a side note, yeah, his program is a faith-based program. However, his principles are going to work on days when I believe there is a God and on days when I don't. Now, if you're really turned off by this guy for any reason, there are other programs by people like Tony Robbins and others that might be just as good of a fit. Now, if you're interested in the Dave Ramsey Total Money Makeover Workbook, now I'll include a link in the description of this video. Back to point here. I need to know where I stand financially. Now, there was a nice worksheet on page 38 of this workbook to help me figure this all out. And once there, I need to create a budget. The first thing I did was calculate my income, then write down all of my expenses. And I needed some objective help in doing this, so I used the forms provided on page 120 of the Dave Ramsey workbook. And I wasn't exactly sure if I had my numbers correct or not, so I made sure to keep track of everything and revise that spreadsheet with all of my expenses that very first month. And I double-checked it all. And yep, I was way off. I was overspending like you wouldn't believe. $1,000 at the grocery store and another $1,000 eating out every month. And I'm a skinny dude. So a simple budget immediately showed me two areas where I could make an adjustment. And that brings me to the third point: downsize my lifestyle. Why the heck am I spending $1,000 eating out and then struggling to pay my credit card bill? Immediately, eating out habits had to be reduced to only those business lunches at work. And even then, I reduced some of those business lunches by only accepting invitations where the boss was going out too, because he usually paid for lunch when that occurred. Next, I sat down and actually read my credit card statement to find all those monthly reoccurring charges. Wow, what an eye-opener. And all those streaming services, well, they had to go. YouTube is free, and so is my channel, right? And number 4 was to focus on current income. For me, I worked a 9-to-5 job, and even though IT people are mostly on call, 24/7, I could handle a few freelance projects on the weekends. So I did consulting for 2 of my former employers. Now, both had difficult times filling my position with someone that had the knowledge and experience on their systems. So I was able to help out with their year-end crunch at a time when year-end things where I currently work were at a lull. And right now, I'm using my hobbies and creative passion for filmmaking to produce this channel. Now, turning hobbies into income is another good possibility. And number 5, I continue to focus on my future income. According to financial planners, someone in my income bracket, which just struggles to touch that 6-figure mark, should have $2 million in the bank before retiring. What the bleep? And as I said earlier, I had $40,000 of debt when I was 45 years old, and no savings. Instead, I'm at the mercy of what Social Security and a very small 401k plan is going to pay me. So I sat down and tried to make a future retirement budget best I could. And I just could not come up with a plan that would pay for rent, food, insurance, health costs on Social Security alone. So I knew my plan had to include maybe buying a house outright. So I set off to buy a house with a 15-year time limit to pay it off. So let me be honest and frank here. I didn't just rush out and buy a house. I made a plan that included moving to an affordable city, at least Orlando was affordable at that time, and then watched the market. When I moved in 2006, I felt houses might be a little bit overpriced and interest rates not where I wanted them. So I rented, waited, and watched, which is always good to do when you move to a new city. And good thing too, we all know what happened to real estate in 2008, and I was ready to buy. Houses in the Orlando area were selling for half of what people owed on them. I also made sure I got a loan where I could refinance with no penalty. And a few years later, when those interest rates fell to just, over 3%, I did. And lastly, I've decided that I need to retire at age 70, not 67. Did you know that the government will give me 24% more money in my monthly Social Security check if I wait 3 additional years to retire? That means someone at my income level would get an extra $1,000 a month or $12,000 a year. Heck yeah, I can wait and work 3 additional short years for an extra $1,000 a month for the rest of my life. So in review, the plan I'm working on for my finances is to address my financial situation, create a budget, downsize my lifestyle, improve my current income, and delay Social Security income. Now next week, I will dive into the handling of my expenses, debt, and investments. My adventure won't be showing you how to get rich quick and make $1 million, but I will be demonstrating how I plan to thrive in retirement, even after getting a late start.